to welcome the three panel speakers. Samantha Vessels, if you'd like to come up. He's the president of Box, so thank you.
Pleasure.
We've got Sam George. We said we've got two Samanthas. So we've got Sam from Royal Mail Group, and we've got Gareth Abel, as well, who was one of the people that I actually researched good practice in sales. So I thought what we could do for this session is I prepared some questions which I've talked about. Let me just go to the right place. Panel questions. So I prepared some questions for each of the panelists that we've actually got here. But I'd just like, if I could, ask the panelists to introduce themselves. So Samantha, can I start with you?
Yes, sure. Hi. So I've spent 20 years now, I'm getting old, in sales, all sorts of different sales roles. Started my career at Dimension Data, which was acquired by NTT. Came over to London to build their cloud overlay project. So I was with them for 15 years. Everyone thought I was institutionalized and didn't want to take a risk on me moving. Eventually I left NTT and joined a company called Elastic, which was pre-IPO, which is subsequently listed, and I built the EMEA team there for 4 years. And then after that joined a small startup called Sneak. And from there I moved to Box, and I'm in a general management role, which is wonderful because I get to experience just sales, marketing, customer success, the SE organization. It all reports into me, and I sit on the executive team. But they've actually managed Europe it's not isolated, obviously, but because we're so different and complex, I manage it all. So that was a great move for me.
So thank you. And I've asked Samantha if she could respond to some questions about the leadership sort of aspects of running a business, and also talk about the impact of AI and how she sees that affecting her business and Box. So we'll come back to Samantha later on. Sam.
So I've been in sales for about 10 years now. I joined Royal Mail about 5 years ago. I started off as an account manager and then I moved up to sales manager. I've been in a team of amazing account managers who I still speak to all the time, but I have recently moved into a different role of head of CRM. It's just something that I've always been passionate about. It's something that very much came across when I did my Masters with Consalia as well, which I really enjoyed. And a lot of the time, these kind of tools that salespeople use every single day, they have a love and hate relationship with. So I want to make sure that Royal Mail loves their CRM tools, basically.
Okay. And last but not least, Gareth, I wonder if you can introduce yourself.
Thank you. So my name's Gareth Abel. I'm a Chief Marketing Officer. It's always great to be in a room full of salespeople when you've got marketing in your job title. So it's a pleasure to be here, and I've come with my growth mindset this afternoon to learn as much as I possibly can. So I'm a marketer who focuses on sustainable profit growth. So not revenue. I'm here to make a profit. So I knew what Ryan meant by the gross retention rate. I was a little alarmed at how few salespeople knew what it meant. I've been very fortunate to live and work all over the world. I've specialised working for predominantly technology businesses, so telco, consumer electronics, and digital services. Last year, I had the opportunity to live and work in Mexico City, which is a fantastic experience. So I'm delighted to hopefully add a little bit of value and a slightly different perspective this afternoon.
Yeah, great. Thank you. So those are our three panelists. So audience, I want you to be involved in this next session and maybe challenge the panelists with some questions. But I'm going to start with Samantha, if I can. Yeah. So what shifts are you seeing in how customers want to engage with sales teams? How do you see AI reshaping the dynamic at Box? Have you seen a significant change?
Not really, to be honest. Because I think we're so early in AI. From a box perspective, you know, we sell an AI solution. We're all about unstructured data, and very secure unstructured data, because 95% of an organization's content is unstructured. Excel, Microsoft PowerPoint, it's sitting in all over the show in various different applications. So we have our own AI, which we go to market with. I think for years, my whole sales career, it's about selling with noble purpose, selling to the business value, identifying the pain, getting value engineering in to try and articulate what the return on investment can be. It's been like that for years, if I'm honest. What I think is changing from my perspective in our business is AI is allowing us to be better at our jobs. So, for example, when I first came in to Box, I asked a couple of questions. What sort of emails are we writing out when we start prospecting to our very important customers? And what you find often is your SDR or your BDRs are the most junior people in the organization, are writing some very strategic letters to your customers. And I looked at all of that, those emails, and I just saw, I was actually horrified, because it's not their fault, but a lot of it isn't to the pain. It's not personalized. It doesn't talk to the use case, and it doesn't talk to who the buyer is. So with agents and what we've built within Box, we've got probably 15 different go-to-market agents, just in sales, then for customer success, then for the SE organization. So, and each person can build their own agent, and we send it to an AI team who can vet it and send it out to the whole organization. But now our SDRs and our OBRs, for example, can actually send personal emails at scale and build a magnificent sequence. So it's helping us do our job better. We show up in a more professional way. And that's for use case identification, for customer research, for demo scripts, for RFP responses. So I think it is driving productivity to extent, but it's making us more professional. So I think our customers are probably getting a better experience from an organization like Box. But from a buyer's side, I would imagine, you know, and we've got so many different use cases we could sell, but I think it must be quite challenging at the moment, because they're doing their own research. They have access to all the AI tools. They've probably got the answers before you even arrive, because they know what they're going to do. And therefore, I think, and everybody's selling AI to them. So I think the salesperson, as we know it, has to differentiate themselves through their intelligence, through their knowledge, and all through the values, in actual fact, that Consalia have put into Aviso. In actual fact, I think Consalia's content coming through Aviso is going to be a key differentiator for them, because we've all got forecasting tools, you know, and they're all very similar, but the content from Consalia will definitely help make their AEs and sales and go-to-market people a lot more a lot more intelligent, I would imagine, because even with all the agents that we've got, and even with all the AI, salespeople still arrive without doing the research, without doing an executive briefing, with no opportunity plan, Medic's not up to date. You know, we've even built an agent that can take Medic and the opportunity, score it, and tell them what to do. So all these agents, I think, are going to help us be more professional. But the world is changing, and I think doing business in Europe is so complex with AI, with regulation, with the economy. I do think it's getting a little bit more difficult, and therefore you have to differentiate yourself and sell more to the value than ever before.
Thank you. Any questions for Samantha around what she's just said? Anyone got any questions you'd like to pose? Yeah, Bianca.
Yeah.
Sorry, do we need microphones? Where's my microphone team? I know we haven't had to work you too hard. Oh, they've gone to the pub already, have they? Okay, so Bianca, would you mind just introducing yourself? And then.
My name is Bianca Portulan. I teach in the Masters for Consalia, but I'm also change strategy for Heineken. So one of the things that we see every day from customer side is being bombarded about, it's quite overwhelming now in the hype of AI, of multiple solutions, startups, and all kinds of code emails, conferences, and etc. on AI. You just mentioned about improving the experience. So what's your experience at Box to improve this and make your solutions stand out from all this hump?
It's not easy, but it starts right from the top of the funnel. So, you know, what we've built now is a content engine to bring around, so that when they're doing search, our customers, they are presented with good content from Box. Because our MQLs and our SQLs are all declining because nobody goes to Google anymore. They're all going to they're using AI, so they're using ChatGPT, for example. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that we are there with all our content. And then what we're trying to do is I believe our AEs, our SDRs, and everybody who engages with our customers they are the differentiators, because there's so many bits of technology, you know, whether it's from Microsoft or Google or this niche AI provider, it's terrible for our customers. So I do agree with you that an existing relationship, if you can manage that existing relationship, if you can keep your existing customers, if you can land multiple use cases, you know, the good old saying, service equals sales, I think keep those existing customers and treasure them. And then what we're trying to do is, obviously, new logos is always important for growth. And when you're going after new logos, just make sure it's very personalized, very targeted, and use case specific, as opposed to this general platform conversation, which everybody's trying to do. So personalized service, I would say, makes a difference.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to move on to Sam now, if I could. So, Sam, I don't know where to start with this first question, but you moved from sales into now managing the CRM kind of transformation that's taking place. So perhaps we can keep it fairly high level. What's been some of the biggest learnings you've had about the experiences that you have had in this huge transformation at Royal Mail Group?
I think one of the key focuses that I had into my master's actually was managing change, particularly within the sales team. And Royal Mail is an ever-changing company. It's 500 years old. We never sit still, basically. So it's a constant stream of managing change anyway. But I think going through probably one of the biggest digital transformations, switching over to the new CRM that we're using currently, was not only a massive digital change, but it was a cultural shift as well. I think people have become quite attached to the old CRM system. So I think what I was keen to establish, because unfortunately I came on probably a little bit later than I would have liked. I think if I was there from the day one, it would have been, I would have used my ADCAR model. I love my ADCAR model. I always revert to that in the change plans. But I was probably at the stage where we were probably past the knowledge point. They'd had all the training, and then I came on board. And I think it's kind of doing a level of internal marketing to rebrand it into not, we haven't just taken away this thing that you really, really loved using, which they never did when it was around, but suddenly now they love using it. So I don't know what that was about. And then basically showing them that the new way, even though the cognitive load initially might seem quite a lot, it will be easier. It's just getting over that first hump. But the only way to get them to realise it will be easier is by helping them see the value in what our new CRM brings, which has got all these bells and whistles that we didn't have previously in our old CRM, and it wouldn't have the capabilities either in our old CRM. So historically, for example, the like most CRMs, it's a glorified filing cabinet basically. So you are putting lots of information in there and it's storing it in there, and then it's giving your managers reports and lagging indicators. But CRM nowadays, they do a lot of automation, automatic logging, sentiment analysis that you might even pick up phone calls yourself. You might get leading indicators as well, using predictive AI as well, which is fantastic. So you're seeing a lot of value come out of it for the salesperson as opposed to historical CRMs. So leveraging that has been a huge thing, along with the internal marketing as well. And I'm still pretty much probably in the thick of it. She'll have to let me know, like 12 months down the line, I'll let you know if it's gone very well or not, because so far I'm still just in the complete thick of it at the moment. So.
Okay. So I'm sure quite a few in the room have gone through some sort of CRM transformation. Any questions that anyone would like to pose? Yes.
Hi, Jane. I'm a sales manager at the Softcat, my company. We're just about to embark on this journey as well, and I'm quite removed from the project and the change that's coming. So I think, yeah, we've got a journey to go on. But I wanted to ask around like productivity loss in that when you move from one to the other. Is that I hear what you're saying, that people that love the old CRM, that's terrible.
Yeah.
Because they've known it for 20 years. So I think there's quite a lot of concerns internally around what does that mean for that productivity for output during that switch over. So what was that like of Royal Mail, and did you see a real tangible drop?
I think with any kind of change, some people took to it from day one. Other people took a little bit longer, and where the people took a little bit longer, there was definitely a productivity loss there. But more so in the sense that they were still contacting customers. Like, customers have always been their priority. It's more just the bit that we needed on CRM, basically, that we were lacking. So it was about, because at that time, right, from day one, I was still a sales manager at that point, even though I had input into the project, I wasn't directly involved at that stage. So I basically would sit down with my account managers at the time and basically try to understand their barriers, how are they feeling about it, what could we maybe do differently, can we maybe come up with some tips, things like that, to kind of really just get past that phase, and then try to pair them up with somebody who's really comfortable with it. The pairing up really, really helps. I noticed there was a massive difference at that stage, because they sit next to each other in the office well, which really helped, and they kind of push each other, which really was definitely beneficial for sure. But yeah, do expect some level in very, very early days. I'm thinking not months, I'm thinking weeks potentially. But yeah, all you can do is try to prepare for every eventuality. Just, you know your team best, so you'll probably already have an idea as to how they're going to react to it. So it's just making plans for that, basically. That's all I can suggest.
Okay. Any other questions? Yes, sorry. There's a few hands going up here.
Hi, Simon Wheeler from Salesforce. I couldn't help obviously asking a question about CRM. I won't ask which one it is, but obviously you've got a lot of now modern CRM capabilities. What would you say is one thing about the new system? Like, if you had to choose one thing that's really going to turn the dial on something, whether that's performance, productivity, efficiency, what's the one thing you see that's really going to be transformative?
Predictive AI for sure. So data modeling, which I know Data Cloud can do as well. I'm aware of that one. And then how that then surfaces in terms of like things like Salesforce have Einstein Next Best Action. So it surfaces a prediction in a suggestion to the salesperson. I think I'm very much about making sure that sales still have autonomy. They're not being controlled as to what they need to do next. They have suggestions surfacing for them. If we know that basically that level of churn that we saw on the screen, it's ridiculous and it's getting worse, basically. If we can use things like predictive AI to basically build those models to help us determine, okay, what's going to happen with this customer next month? Are there any kind of leading indicators we could maybe have a look at? Have their recent cases gone up? Are we seeing a drop in their invoice payments? Anything like that would mean that, okay, the account manager is going to jump on that way ahead of the time that the revenue drops, basically. That's where I see the most value, for sure.
I think there was another hand up.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, Alex.
Alex Nesky's from Context, a market research organisation. I suppose you have very different generation inside Royal Mail.
Yep.
Did you see
Yeah.
differentiation in terms of adoption of the new bells and whistles, CRM, new tools related to AI, according to those generations?
Not so much. It was very much about mindset, really. The people who had growth mindsets, regardless what generation they were in, they took to it straight away. People who had the fixed mindset, who really wanted the old CRM back, it was they were a lot harder to basically bring along the journey with us. But yeah, that was definitely cross generations. There wasn't any particular type of generation, yeah. And we do have all generations in Royal Mail. We have multiple family generations as well. It's mad. Yeah.
Okay, so let's move on to Gareth. Gareth, can I throw a question at you that you're not prepared for?
Okay.
And that is, being a marketing person, and I'm just interested in your reflections on what you've heard today. I know that's not a question that I have asked you to prepare for.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
But you did say that, you know, it's nice being a marketeer with a bunch of salespeople. And I'd just like to hear, you know, what you've made of this afternoon.
So first, I think it's fascinating, right? So sales is probably the most... In many
Careful what you say. Careful what you say. No, sorry, we lost that. Sales is the most...
I'm a father of 3 daughters. I have no filter. So I think it's fascinating. So sales is often regarded as, you know, the most important job in any given business, right? And I think it's fair to say that it's very rarely underrepresented in terms of the amount of bandwidth that it gets in the C-suite. So, but I think listening and participating this afternoon, it's just about the care and attention that goes into the professionalism that really high quality salespeople put into their work, their process and their responsibility. I've had the opportunity to work with some amazing salespeople that delivered results. I have had the opportunity to work with some dreadful salespeople who also delivered results. So being able to be, you know, to kind of go behind the scenes in terms of what it takes to become and to sustain as a great salesperson, I think is a fantastic learning for anybody. So, you know, I've really appreciated the opportunity to be part of it this afternoon.
Okay, well, thank you for that. But the question I asked you to prepare for was that Gareth was one of the people that we had no relationship with, responded to a LinkedIn request for people to take part in the research, and I think it came through perhaps Eddie on the marketing side. And we had a very interesting conversation, and you shared some stories about what you saw as being great practice. And I just wonder if you could share one of the stories you had. Maybe you need to set some context for it. And you know, let's hear your story about what you would consider is great practice.
Yeah, it's a great practice. So as you'll see from my experience, I've done quite a lot of work in the telco space. So I've spent quite a lot of time working in what is called the mobile devices part of the telco space. So many of you probably get the phone in your pocket or in your hand from your mobile network operator. You buy it on a contract and you pay for it over a certain number of years. So what this means is that the mobile network operators buy the phones from different handset manufacturers and then they provide finance to you. So there is a huge, absolutely huge financial program that goes in to spending literally billions of pounds, dollars, euros every year with different device manufacturers in order to provide you with the phones that are in your pockets. So one of the best salespeople that I've ever come across was working for a handset manufacturer. You can by me calling it a handset, you can tell it wasn't a smartphone, right? So I was working for a handset manufacturer that had a huge relationship with the company I was working for, and I was working for Orange at that time. And we were probably spending 500 million euros plus per year, so a very significant relationship, but not the biggest relationship that we had. And what was quite incredible was that this guy orchestrated an incredible transformation in the relationship between their business and ours. And he really identified the things that we were all about and then was able to present what his own business could do for us, but also was able to take what we needed and take it back to his organisation to change what they did. He was able to do this operating across 18 different markets simultaneously with all sorts of different positions. So here in the UK, this brand was probably number 2 in the market. But I can remember in Spain, they had a really low performance, and he had to convince his own business to overinvest in that market in order to ensure that their brand awareness and the confidence that our team in Spain would have would be there in order for them to participate more actively in this relationship. This guy was delivering 500 million euros of business per year, but he was not interested in it being 510 million euros. He was not chasing the final euro. He was looking to make sure that he could authentically build that synergy between the two businesses. And he was there to learn, take it back, present it, and then to manage the challenges that came along. It was fascinating to watch how this guy did this.
Yeah, I think you talked about his ability to work at a macro level, looking at the strategy as well as the micro level,
Correct,
which is the detail that was required in order to pull that quite complex relationship to actually together. Right. So any questions of Gareth from anyone in the audience?
Don't be shy. Ask a marketer whatever you really want to know.
Yeah, what do we think of marketers, guys? Yes, Donald.
Donald Howison from SKF. And I'm really intrigued to get your opinion on what you saw on Aviso and how you feel that could be a marketer's tool as well as a sales tool.
I think there's probably a few reactions that I had to it. So firstly, I think as a tool which works, to be honest, like any other AI tool, which is there to help us to structure and to do a better but not a perfect job, and to do it more quickly, I think it's really useful. So I think that kind of generic AI capability is quite useful in any of the macro business functions. Where we use marketing in AI, where we use AI in marketing, there's a couple of sort of macro areas. So what you hear a lot of right now is around the rapid execution of automated campaigns or creative development, and that is okay. But there are lots of different use cases, but you're probably seeing it being not particularly effective. It is quite interesting that probably the most famous AI execution in marketing over the last few years has been Coca-Cola. So one of the interesting things about Coca-Cola is it's run the same ad at Christmas for more than the last 40 years. Last year they recreated it for some reason and made it worse with AI, and they have done an AI plus version of it again this year. So they're running the same execution, but just gently improving it. I think that's probably a easy way to use AI in marketing. But where the real intelligence is in marketing is at the diagnosis and strategy stage. So one of the things that I do is my first task is about building the segment map of the market. So I mentioned before that I position myself around delivering sustainable profit growth. So I'm identifying where are the segments in the market where there's actually profit to be made, not where there is volume, where there is profit to be made. Now, in order to do that kind of manually, that can take months and cost you a lot of money. But now, with the use of synthetic data, from companies like Evidenza as an example, you can do this at a fraction of the cost overnight and with 90% plus of the accuracy. Those types of use cases are absolutely fascinating, and I believe really will transform how the technology can be used in business today.
Does that answer your question, Donald?
Certainly given an insight.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Okay, I'm again very conscious of time. I'm really sorry, but any questions of anyone of the panel? Yes.
Kevin Kelly. I just have a business development agency, an outbound team. I'm curious what you guys think of, if I was to say AI emails are automation on steroids, basically. And we're seeing a record amount of emails be just deleted. And that's the feedback we're getting. And I'm just wondering, you know, we talk about personalization. And a lot of the personalization we see, this is from feedback from our clients, get names wrong, using old company names, and everybody thinks that, yeah, we're super personalized, when actually it's not even close. And the other part of it is maybe we send 6 or 7 of these in sequence, nobody opens them, nobody looks at them, and we think it's great to send an 8th and 9th one, you know? I'm just wondering your opinion on that.
I mean, I'm battling with the same, and I think most software companies are.
Yeah.
So I think it's not about personalized campaigns, it's personal campaigns. So it's to the CMO at Coca-Cola on their last advertising campaign, referencing a comment in LinkedIn, and then not asking for, would you like to meet, here's a calendar invite. I can't stand that, because you just delete. Because that's not authentic. You don't sell like that. You don't build relationships like that. So it's about helping the SDRs or the BDRs to actually think about the relationship they're trying to build, rather than say, can I have a meeting tomorrow? Rather say, oh, and by the way, here's a white paper. I thought you might be interested. And the next one, here's a Gartner report. I thought you might be interested in. And then build up some rapport and then ask for the meeting. So I think it's about personal outreach. The problem is AI agents can help them do a great personal outreach. The problem is now when the email comes back in and starts asking questions, and then they've actually got to start thinking for themselves and have the second and the third sort of email back to that customer organized and relevant and spot on. Otherwise, you're going to blow it on the second email when they actually come back to you. So I think that's as important as the first email. But AI will allow you to do more personal outreach at scale. And it makes a difference.
Thank you. Don't know if Samantha.
I would agree with that, to be honest.
Yeah.
I was huge on insight selling, particularly. It was probably one of my key focuses when I was doing my master's as well. I think providing value and differentiating yourself. I think we probably say it so much and maybe lose a little bit of meaning, but it is genuinely, you're sat in front of somebody. They're dealing with lots of different things in their head. If you ask questions, you find out what that customer wants, the last thing you should then be doing afterwards is basically just giving probably a poor prompt to a language model to spat out some really poor email with no context, with no emotion, with no meaning, and then basically lose that connection you tried to initially build. I think it's always got to be contextual, it's got to be applicable, it's got to be relevant for the person you're speaking to as well. So, but yeah, I am probably one of those the people that I get a lot of those emails now, and I do delete them all, unless it's got some actual value in there.
So can I ask you a question back? So this is the marketeer who doesn't quite get it. Sorry. What's your objective with sending the emails?
Well, to be honest, we don't. We don't go outbound on a call first, so that the email comes second, and that's personal. So for us, that's the approach we take. And I delete all the emails, by the way. It just seems to have increased, and all AI companies are selling AI, and all of these volumes are coming through, but our clients are saying the same thing. But for me, the personalization starts with potentially going outbound. Now, we have the tools nowadays. There's never been a better time to go outbound with all the tools you can get for direct access, depending on which country you go out into. But you have a huge opportunity to engage with people. I think the email must come second, not first.
Okay.
Then it becomes personal. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah. So just so I'm getting it, and forgive me for being so simple, but your goal here in terms of going outbound is that you are trying to get somebody to be interested in having a conversation about future business with you.
No, or with our clients.
Okay.
Yeah. So we're going outbound to find people and try and bring them to the table. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. Okay. So my advice as a marketer here is, Jesus, that's incredibly inefficient in terms of what you're doing. But actually, inefficiency is irrelevant. You want to be effective before you can be efficient. And so an outbound approach in that way is totally ineffective. Your clients would be much, much better off building their brand around what are the category entry points for their sector, so that they build organic traffic and organic interest in them. And only then, when you have someone who is already warm and interested in what solution you provide to whatever their problem is, only then will you find that any kind of communication is actually going to yield effective and efficient business outcomes at the end.
That's why
Okay.
we're building that content engine, so that we can build that organic awareness, so that when you do reach out or you do call, there's an awareness of the brand and your value proposition.
Okay, sorry, I'm just conscious of time, and we very shortly need to go to the pub and have a drink. And I'm desperate for a drink, so I'm just going to thank the panelists for taking part. Can we give them a big round of applause? Thank you so much for taking part. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you.